I just want to say hi and welcome to everybody who is out there joining us. Whether today is your first event with Power to Fly or your 50th, we are incredibly excited to have you join us today for our virtual event. Now, we are going to be talking with Colette Hart, but before we do that, I just want to real quick flash our code of conduct up on the screen for you. This is a big, scary wall of legalese, but what it boils down to is just don't be a jerk, okay? As long as we operate from a place of kindness and respect, it's pretty hard to go wrong from there. Just remember, everybody's welcome, but you got to act right, okay? So treat everybody with kindness and respect. Pretty hard to go wrong from there. If you have other questions or if you want more details on this, I'm happy to go into this for you in the chat. Or you can always write to our help desk inbox. That email is hi, at powerfly.com. All right, now the last thing I'm going to show you here is our kind of helpful hints. This is a little bit of housekeeping, and this will be, like I said, especially important if today is your first event with Power to Fly. And if that's the case, then hi, welcome. We're so happy to meet you. Now, the love is no less real for my frequent flyers. Thank you so, so much for joining us. I love seeing your familiar names and faces in the chat. Thank you so, so much for joining us. We very much appreciate all of you. Now, the big thing about Power to Fly events is participation. We want to encourage that in any way we can. So if you'd like to, please feel free to turn your cameras on, share your smiling, maskless faces with us, safely. But there's no need to be Instagram perfect, y'all. Truly, like I got real fancy and washed my hair yesterday, put on a real outfit. That does not mean that you can't join us with your hair in a turban, with from your living room couch or your kitchen table. It makes no difference to us, okay? Ball gown or bathrobe, we all learn the same. So please feel free to have a seat and join us. Now, we are recording as well as live streaming to YouTube. Hi, YouTube. But what this means for all of you is you don't have to take notes. You get to sit back, relax, enjoy the conversation that I'm about to have with Colette, and not worry if you miss a link that's shared or a resource that's posted, okay? Now, what's going to happen is in about 4 to 5 business days, so probably sometime next week, Powerfly is going to email everybody a link to this recording when we put it live on powerfly.com. Now, like I said, we are live streaming to YouTube, so the video usually is posted to YouTube within by the end of business today. So if, let's say, Colette says something absolutely mind-blowing, like paradigm shifting, you cannot wait to tell a friend or a coworker or a relative, you don't have to wait for that email to hit your inbox. You can direct them to our YouTube channel right away. Now, I am going to share links for this in the chat as we go. Give me a little bit of time because I am flying solo today, but I'll share links for all of this. So you can check out our YouTube channel. Some of our best of kind of hits are there, but truly, y'all, the mother load is on the website. That is where all of our free resources live. We want to put those in the hands of as many people as possible. So thank you so, so much for joining us, as well as exploring powertofly.com and our YouTube channel. We appreciate it so much. Now, I want to know, y'all are here and you took time out of your day to be here. So I want you to head over to the chat, and I'd love it if y'all would tell us where you're joining us from today. I'm coming to you from Toledo, Ohio. This is land that belonged to the Fox, Kickapoo, and Potawatomi tribes in my area. So please feel free to let us know where you're joining and if you know whose land you're on. I'm always really eager to see how far the global, like kind of virtual audience spreads. So thank you so much for sharing that, y'all. Oh my gosh, coming off strong. Okay, we've got London, UK. We've got Augusta, Georgia. Hi, Bernice. We've got Crystal joining us from Lubbock, Texas. Adelia from Columbus, Ohio. Hi, Adelia. Michael's in Dallas. Lucia's in Slovakia. Marliani is in Northern Virginia. Y'all, I love seeing this. Thank you so much. Okay, now I am very excited to get us started with today's speaker. Now, before I kind of give her the floor, I did want to give you a brief introduction. Now, Colette Hart is a tech entrepreneur and an AI systems architect. She serves as the co-founder and CEO of Idonea, which is a recruitment platform that utilizes semantic ontology and artificial intelligence for capability-based and skill-driven hiring. Now, that says a whole lot, but I'm very excited to dive in on this with Colette. Colette, before we get to questions, what else would you like our audience members to know about you?
A little bit the reason why I designed Idonea, because it's quite important. I have a background in digital product, user experience, and research and strategy for more than 25 years, both in the US and in Europe. My interest in hiring became very personal when I tried to return to work after career break. So I found that employers often struggle to understand experiences that didn't fit a traditional career path. So, and that made me start questioning the way we hire people in the first place. So that experience eventually led me to create Idonea. So at Idonea, we are building a different approach to hiring that is designed for everyone. We help employers define the work more clearly, and we help people find opportunities based on what they can do. So I come to this conversation from two sides. As someone who has spent many years designing better systems, but also as someone who has experienced what happens when a hiring system fails to understand me. That's all I wanted to start with.
I love this. As somebody who was like, I didn't go to school for hiring. I got a crash course in HR when I started working for Power to Fly in 2019. So I started, going through people's resumes, trying to find people that would be suited for different job recs. And this is something we ran up against a lot, was like, were the qualifications listed what you actually needed, or is it what you thought you needed? When you say
Yeah.
you want somebody that's detail oriented, are you talking about attention to detail in the minute, or are you talking attention to detail when they're not being asked to task switch every 5 minutes? So I love this subject, because I got thrown into the deep end right away and had to figure out right away, okay, how am I going to parse through these things? And we didn't have
Right.
AI. It was, 7 years ago in the
No,
dark ages.
no, I know. That's true. Yeah, indeed.
All right. Now I've got questions for Colette, but if you all have questions, please feel free to send those in. I've got eyes in the chat, so I'll be keeping track there. And if you have questions or you want to dive in deeper on something, please feel free. We want to know what you want to know today. So feel free to drive today's conversation. Okay, my first question. How can organizations use AI to recognize things like transferable backgrounds and potential, especially if you get a candidate, from a non-traditional background, resume gaps, career pivots, historical bias, there's all of these things can unfairly limit someone's access to opportunity. So how do you recommend that companies utilize AI to specifically find these skills?
Um, well, before I give you an example, let me explain something about Idonea, which I forgot to mention earlier. We're still building it. We will launch in 2027, but some things are already settled. Idonea does not rank candidates. It does not score them against each other, and it does not make automated rejection decisions. So, and this is the business model. It's not based on placement fees. Those are design constraints, not settings that we can switch off later. And why this matters? Because AI can help somebody write a better resume, but a better resume does not change the assumption built into hiring. So I'm going to give you an example. Imagine Maya. Maya worked in UX and design for more than 20 years. Then she got cancer and had to stop working for several years. Now she's on remission and she wants to come back to work. So Maya does everything candidates are told to do. She used AI to write a resume and describe her experience clearly. But the 8-year gap is still there. So we know that the tools have changed and her old portfolio is probably gone. So the way her work was described 20 years ago looks very different today. So suddenly Maya looks like a difficult candidate, not because she cannot do the work, but because the system sees the gap before it sees 20 years of experience. And this is another problem. If AI keeps learning from past hiring decisions, it keeps learning the same pattern, and that will definitely exclude people like Maya. So the current hiring system shows who is chosen, not who is capable. That makes a huge difference. If people with long gaps were rarely hired before, Maya's gap automatically becomes a negative signal. That is exactly why we should not be using AI to repeat what does not work for everyone. So with Idonea, we start with Maya, right? Maya has 20 years of understanding users, solving problems, working with developers, talking to clients, and helping teams make better decisions. She may have learned other things while she was away. Maybe she started a support group for cancer patients and their families. So she organized people, she supported them, she took responsibility. None of that shows up on the resume, obviously, but that matters too. Maya tells Idonea what she has done, what she can do, and what she wants to do next. If there is something personal she wants to share, that's her choice. She should not have to explain why she was ill or justify 8 years of her life before anyone looks at what she can do. So Idonea makes her experience and abilities visible. That might mean going back to UX opportunity, or it might show her other opportunities she had never considered before. So now Maya can see how she's being represented. If something is wrong, she can correct it. If something is private, it stays private. Maya stays in control. And if you are the recruiter, you do not need to know that Maya had cancer. What you need to know whether she can do the job. With Idonea, you see her experience and what supports it. You don't see a score telling you where she ranks. You present Maya with other candidates with similar capabilities, and then the hiring manager makes a decision. We have to understand that we all know that humans have unconscious bias. That's exactly that. So Idonea keeps the focus on what the role requires, what Maya can do, and what supports that. AI should not amplify human bias, hide it behind an algorithm, or make the hiring decision itself. So for me, the opportunity is not to make the traditional hiring system faster. It's to rethink it completely, to understand what people can do and help employers be clearer about what they actually need. And that is really important. So, so Maya's career was interrupted, but her value did not disappear. That's all I have to say. I cannot hear you.
At
Hello.
least once an event, I lose my mute button. So now we've got that out of the way. No, I love this because like the sorting aspect is something that's always bothered me, especially as someone who went from having my last name started with M, and then I got married and my last name started with A, and I was job seeking during this time. And I remember like truly the next time I sent out a round of applications that had my married last name, I got so many more responses because my name was now an A for a last name than an M. So I am a big fan of the lack of sorting or the lack of prioritizing because like it really does prejudice for and against certain candidates. So I'm loving all of this.
You're
Now I
welcome.
want to make sure, oh, go ahead, please.
No, I said you're welcome. I understand.
All right. Now, if you are a leader in this space and you're trying to maintain, transparency and accountability throughout this process, what do you think that should look like for someone who's leading the hiring process in a situation like this?
Let me think about this. Well, what question is that one? Okay.
If they're trying to, leaders are trying to stay human, obviously we have to, process people through a system to try and hire people. But how can leaders maintain that human judgment, transparency, and accountability throughout the process?
Oh God, this is a good question. Um, Let me think about this. Do you mean like a skill-based hiring in a stated goal? But I don't, yeah, because I don't remember that question.
Oh, it's okay. It was part and parcel of the first question. So I think we kind of
All
covered
right.
it, honestly.
Yeah, that's what
But
I
like,
thought. Because I'm thinking.
yeah, oh no, we've kind of covered, but I
Yeah,
wanted to make sure we covered all of our
okay.
bases.
Yeah,
But
no,
yeah,
no.
no, yeah.
It did definitely, yeah, covered in my answer for the first question, definitely.
Okay, good. All right. Okay, so our next question. Obviously, AI is not true artificial intelligence. It's logic gates and pattern recognition. If knowing that AI looks for those patterns and that people do not always fit into boxes, how do you correct a mistake in the system, or is AI's decision final? Where does a human being step in? I think that's a lot where people start to get, concerned. What do you have to say to this? If AI is just looking for people that fit in the boxes and the people don't fit, where do you bring a person into the situation?
Oh, absolutely. The question is like, you mean like, does AI make the final decision, or is it a human that makes the final
Yes.
decision?
Yes. And
Okay.
if the AI makes mistakes, is that just part and
Yeah,
parcel of the process now?
yeah, yeah. So I will say for now, AI will get people wrong sometimes. So that's very important to remember. But the important question is what happened when it does. So I'm going to tell you a different persona, an example. Imagine Aisha. Aisha has worked for a small nonprofit for 10 years. Her job title is program coordinator. But it is a small organization, so a real job is much bigger than the title. So she runs major projects, works with outside partners, controls budgets, leads team, and deliver programs. Then one day she decided to apply for a senior program manager role. So she used AI to improve her resume. The language is polished, her achievements are clear. But one thing has not changed. Her title still says program coordinator. And if the screening system leads on job title and keywords, then Aisha still looks too junior. So she gets pushed down the list, or she never reached the recruiter at all. Um, and you never found out what she was actually responsible for, because the AI has made the decision already for her. So that is where the system gets Aisha wrong. With Idonea, an AI interpretation does not automatically become a fact. What happened is Aisha tells Idonea what she actually did. The system may start by seeing that she coordinated project. So Idonea asks more questions. Did she lead them? Was she responsible for the budget? Did she manage people? Was she accountable for the outcome? And obviously Aisha said, yes, I coordinated the work, but I was also responsible for leading the program. Then she can describe in more detail and show Adonea her work and what supports it. If something is still unclear, Adonea doesn't turn uncertainty into assumptions. And most importantly, Aisha can see how she's been represented. Again, if something is wrong, she corrects it. She should not lose an opportunity because AI misread 2 words in her job title. If you are the recruiter and you see what Aisha has done and what supports it, not a score telling you Aisha is number 7 or 37 on that list. But at that point, Aisha has the chance to show what she can do and fix anything the system got wrong. The hiring manager looks at her experience and what supports it. They can consider whether it meets what the role needs. If something important is still unclear, Aisha gets another chance to explain it. So, and if she genuinely does not meet an important requirement, that should be clear too. We're not trying to make everybody look qualified for everything. What we are trying to do is to stop qualified people from being overlooked because the system misunderstood them. And that's really important. Aisha should not disappear because the word coordinator sounds junior. And we have to remember, Adonea does not rank Aisha against anyone else. And it doesn't tell the hiring manager who to choose. So when AI gets Aisha wrong, that mistake does not have to become her outcome. So she can challenge it, she can correct it, and the decision still belongs to a human. And that, I think, explained the idea behind it.
I agree with that. I mean, job titles can be so subjective anyway. And I
Yeah.
know,
Oh,
having
yeah.
worked with, a number of larger companies as well as smaller companies over the years, there are, Microsoft has an entire naming convention for how you
Yep.
ascend the ladder with them that does not match anyone else. Deloitte does the same. There's, all of these companies have this kind of situation that works within their own silo. But if you are a program coordinator at one place and go elsewhere, that role could mean something completely different. So I love this idea
Right.
that, like, your past job title, it doesn't seem as dicey anymore to be like, well, I know I'm not going from job title A to job title A. However, here's why the things actually match up. So I like this a lot.
But the thing is that we do not going to, I mean, there is a bias in job titles because job titles change, transform over time. If
Oh
you
yeah.
had, so you cannot rely on job titles because it doesn't really tell what the capabilities are about that one person. And that's really important to get away from that mind frame because that is the thing that destroys a lot of people opportunities. If the AI system, the ATS track, oh, the titles are this, okay, and it's going to remove everybody else because the title is wrong or is too vague, then we need to stop using titles as a way to determine if somebody is um, has the right skills and has the capability that is required to do a certain job.
Yeah, I like this. Okay.
Thank you.
So, Aisha was a really good example. I want to know, what can a candidate do to know whether they're getting the chance to tell their story or not? Let's say you don't know whether you're still being viewed as competitive for a senior leadership role versus when
Yeah.
you might have been filtered out already. How can a candidate know that?
Oh, that's another one that I really care about. That the hardest part of job searching is often not the rejection, it's not knowing what happened. And that's really important. So I'm going to tell you another story about a different person, a persona. Imagine Richard. Richard has worked in marketing and customer experience for almost 30 years. He has led large teams, managed big budgets, worked across different countries, and taken companies through major changes. Then his company is acquired. Department merged, senior role disappear, and Richard loses his job. So for the first time in years, he's looking for work. He does what candidates are told to do. He uses AI to modernize his resume, present his experience clearly. He starts applying for senior roles he knows he can do, obviously. He has the experience, he has led people, he has delivered. But sadly, the rejections start coming. Gut. Sometimes they arrive within minutes, and sometimes he hears nothing at all. So he never gets to speak to anybody because nobody never get in touch with Richard. So Richard doesn't know what is happening. Was there a requirement he genuinely did not meet? Was it filtered out because anyone looked at his experience? Did someone assume 30 years mean too expensive? Did they assume he would not adapt to new technology? Was he overqualified? Was it his age? Age is really big in this type of industry. Or did a recruiter actually read it and choose someone else? The thing is that frustrates me is that Rachel has no way of knowing. And after enough of that, something else starts happening. He starts questioning himself. Am I still a senior leader? Is my experience still relevant? Should I be applying for something more junior? This is what invisible screen does to people. An AI optimized resume cannot fix this matter. However, with Idonea, we thought about it. Rachel goes through the same process as everybody else. The focus is on what the opportunity actually required and what Richard has actually done. So, Idonea looks at what he has been responsible for, what problem has he solved, what he has led, and what part of that is relevant to a particular role. If something important is generally missing, he should know. Maybe the role needs experience with a regulation he's never worked with. This is useful information for Richard. Richard should know what actually happened in the process. If there is an important requirement he does not meet, that should be clear. If it was not reviewed, that should be clear too. And if he was considered and the employer chose someone else, he should know that too. He should not be left filling the silence with assumption about his age or the value of his experience. We should also stop assuming what Richard can or cannot do because of his age. And this is one more difference. Idonea does not tell Richard where he ranks against everybody else. If he meets what the opportunity requires, is qualified to be considered. He should not be pushed down a list because somebody else has a more familiar career history. He may be competing with younger candidates whose experience look more current, and that is the reality. But being older should not make his experience less relevant. Companies need to stop treating experience and recency as one of to replace the other, and that really upsets me. I'm a firm believer that the future of work should be multi-generational teams, where people at different stages bring different things. But if Richard can do the work a company needs today, his age should not count against him. So 30 years of experience should be something the company knows how to value, not a reason for Richard to become invisible. And that's all I have to say, because I feel very strong about that.
No, I completely agree with you. I think that you're right. We do have a bit of a trifecta, right? Is you can have experience, you can have newness, or you can have somebody that costs what you want to pay, and never the twain shall meet. And I think it's a very false dichotomy to think that if one isn't there, the other can fill in for it. Now they are both very valuable skills and very valuable, like things in your arsenal to have. But one can be procured given a certain amount of time, and the other one you literally just have to go through life to gain experience. So I think it is really, really important that we avoid equating the two, because it's a completely false equivalency.
Yes, absolutely, spot on. Yes, and that needs to change. That needs to change, because again, we're losing tons of talented people because of the system that we're using today. It doesn't help anyone. It doesn't even, I don't think even helps recruiter finding the right candidates and employers to find the right person to hire. So I think we need to, Idonea is shifting the conversation and completely going away from resume and actually also even interview. So, but that's another thing. But we are working in a complete shift of how recruitment should be today and for tomorrow. Right now, we're just making things that are terrible faster, but not better. That's where I'm having this problem with the current movement, not movement, but the current trends, and it's not helping anybody. And people are falling back. That's it. I'm one of them. I was in the system, and because I was older and blah blah blah, and too much this, not enough that. I got so fed up. I said, I'm going to build the tool that's going to hire me.
Yes. Oh, all right. If y'all want to chime in on this, if this is also something you've experienced, please feel free to weigh in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. I know we are going to go over by a couple minutes, so if you do have to bounce for time, totally understandable. But thank you to everybody who's joined us and is sticking with us thus far. Okay. Let's say you're talking to a candidate what should candidates know about building a more human first AI resume? Obviously, we're all going to be using AI to polish the resumes. It's kind of silly to not, but what should people know if they're trying to create a human first AI safe resume?
I would say that I would challenge the question. I do not think we need a more human first AI resume. I think we need to stop asking the resume to represent the whole person. That's what I think. And here is the twist. A candidate may already have a great AI optimized resume. The keywords are right. It gets them through the ATS, but it does not tell the candidate what the job will actually be like. And it does not tell them whether the way the company works will work for them. I mean, we're all looking at the candidate's problem, but we also need to understand that the employers need more accountability and more responsibility towards candidates. So imagine Priya. That would be my other persona. Priya has worked in product operation for 12 years. She is neurodivergent. She has ADHD and dyslexia, right? So she's very good at solving complicated problems, spotting what other people miss, pulling information together, and helping teams find a way forward. So what she does, she uses AI to improve her resume. The language is polished, the keywords are there. The ATS may treat her as a strong match. So on paper, everything looks good. But Priya has another problem. The job description tells her what the company wants from her. It tells very little about what she can expect from the company who wants to hire someone like Maya. So Maya thinks, will important instruction be written down? Are priorities clear? How meetings are run? How often does the work change at short notice? Can somebody ask for an adjustment without being treated as a problem? And this is real because people who are neurodivergent have different needs, and then they need special support to work at their 100% best. So those things matters to Priya because she knows what helps her to do her best work. But she may not find any out of it until the interview. So, and suddenly the burden is back on her. She has to explain what she needs. She may feel she has to disclose the ADHD and dyslexia. And she might find out that a job that looks perfect is actually a job where she would struggle. The resume did this job, the RS system did not. And that's really important. The resume did this job, but their RS system did not. There is something else I think matters here. Prior being neurodivergent should not lead a system to make assumptions about her either. It should not assume she's highly creative, great with patterns, or bad at admin, or easily distracted because she has ADHD or dyslexia. A diagnosis is not a shortcut for understanding what she can do. So with Idonea, we want to take the resume out of the center. Priya explain what she has done, what she can do, what she wants to do next, and what helps her work well. And the organization now has to describe the opportunity properly. Not just the qualification they want, but what the actual work is, what is that involves, what they expect, how work gets communicated, what the environment is really like. Prior should not have to disclose the diagnosis just to say, I work better when important instructions are written down. And she should not be put in a separate box, big market, neurodivergent candidate, because that's also terrible. She should have the same access as everybody else. With enough information to decide for herself whether it can work for her. At the end of the day, there's no value in helping Priya to the door of a company where she's set up to struggle and fail. So for me, resume optimization is not the future. We need better job description. I would say job optimization is the future. We should stop asking people to get better at writing for machines. Organizations need to get better at describing the work, not just what they want from people, but what people can expect from them. Hiring should not only be about whether the candidate fits the job, it should help the candidate work on whether the job fits them too. It's a two-way system. And that is where I think AI can generally help. We should be building systems that understand people better, not asking people to keep adapting themselves to a hiring system is already failing them. And that will be the end of my answer.
No, I think that's very smart. And it kind of goes in with what we were saying of some of the kind of rejection fatigue and sensitivity that you start to get. I mean, like, obviously,
Yeah,
most people are on this call today because they're probably job hunting or think that they might be
yeah,
soon. And y'all, it
yeah,
is rough out in these streets, okay? It is not easy. So,
yeah,
the fact that the lack of information is such a large part of the job search for so many people, like that's a whole layer of stress that doesn't need to be there. So
no,
I love,
exactly.
love, love this idea of not only more like transparency from the people who are in charge of these AI systems, right? Because it's
Yes,
not just AI running amok and deciding, I'm going to help this company with their HR. Like people brought in these tools. So I think that you're right. It is a very it seems a lot smarter to fix a broken system than to try and teach people how to work within a broken system, especially when we created the system.
yes, it's a social construct, to be honest. So it's not, and now it's time for a product like, Idonea is really it's a movement to, uh, to shift again what we know and what doesn't work and how we can improve it. Actually, I would say not even improve it, how to make it really helpful and support people, support the candidate, the recruiter, the hiring manager equally. So everybody, it's a kind of win-win situation because everybody understands more what they need, understand better. There's more clarity from all perspective. And we don't have to rely on ATS anymore because I'm sorry, for me, this is not really helping anybody. We still, and going faster doesn't help either. We need to understand the root of the problem. AI is there to support human dignity. Humans, yeah, so it's not the other way around. I'm afraid.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Okay, we have just about come to the end of time, but I'm
Yeah,
going to ask
thank
you
you.
the question, and then while you think of your answer, I'm going to give them kind of the wrap up, and then we'll end with your response, okay?
Yeah,
My
okay.
question is, if people only remember one thing from today's session, what do you want that one thing to be?
Human dignity first.
Yeah, I
Human
like that.
first. Human dignity first. Because I think we're kind of forgetting where we stand as human with the AI and booming and everything. And I think we are drowning into a mess. It's so lost into translation, really. I think human dignity first is what Adonai is all about.
I
Putting
like
you
that.
first, not
Yeah.
not the machine, not AI. AI is there to serve you, not is there to help us, not the other way around.
Okay, I love that response. All
Thank
right,
you.
so I've just put a link into the chat. This is for whyadonea.com. Would you tell people about what they can find if they, if they're interested in the product or if they're interested in the company and they want to know more?
Yes, I built whyadonea.com is really a way to explain Adonea from different personas. And this is also the underline for the prototype we're going to be building. But obviously, it doesn't explain the technology behind it because that obviously is not something I can talk about it. But also, I'm looking for people to, go in, take a look, tell me what you think, where this is makes sense, where it doesn't. Challenge me, challenge us. And it's we are building something that is for now, for the future. It's for the shift. This is a movement. It's not just a product. And
Love
yeah, so please go out there, email, contact, check that we are looking for some future people joining the company once we have funding, and really looking for people's feedback and everything. That's really helpful for us. And if you are a recruiter somewhere or a hiring manager, please come on board, check it out. Your
that.
input is also valuable.
Ah, I love this. Thank you. Colette, I
You're
just want to
very
say again,
welcome.
thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for spending time with us today. The prep work that went into this is amazing, and very impressive. So thank you so, so much, not just for your time today, but all the time that you spent on today's event with us. We really, really appreciate it. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much as well. Have a lovely afternoon. I mean, yeah, where you
Absolutely.
are.
And that's going to bring us to the end of today's session. But to all of you out there in our audience, thank you so, so much for joining us. Okay. We
Yes.
really appreciate it. We know that you have a lot of opportunities when it comes to upskilling and chats like this. So we are incredibly thankful that you chose to spend time with Power to Fly and Idonea today. Now, as we round out today's session, I just want to remind y'all, we do have some great new programming coming up this week, including a virtual job fair happening. So absolutely check that out. And then y'all, because we're here on a job search chat, I want to take a second here to just remind y'all, if you are in your job search right now, take a second and be nice to yourself. Okay. That is hard,
Yes.
right? It's a lot of rejection, a lot of unknowns, and it's rough. So lean on each other, lean on people in your life that support you, but also lean on other job seekers because it's a very unique set of brain chemistry that happens when you are trying to prove your worth to people.
Yes.
So please, y'all, whether you are a little, even if you're not a little treat person, listen to Meg. Okay. Give yourself the gold star, pat on the back, the cookie, maybe the Starbucks drink. I don't know. Go with coffee. Maybe not Starbucks is all I'm saying.
Caffeine
But
is better.
whatever it is, please go out and treat yourself, okay? Because it is hard. And you just did 45 minutes of something positive for yourself and for your career. So reward yourself for that. We are incredibly happy to have you here with us today and every day. And I sincerely hope that today will not be the last event that you see us on. Now, go out, have the day all voted for, and we will see you back here sooner rather than later. Bye,
Thank you.
everybody.
Bye. Bye.